Thank you for joining Security Cameras Plus. Today we're going to talk about a power supply and how to connect the power supply to your security camera system. To do this, we'll first need to start with a power supply. Now this can be a 4, 8, 16, or 18 channel power supply depending on the situation and what we're doing. There are all different types of layouts for the power supply. This depends on the manufacturer, but they're all universal in their functionality of how they work. This one you'll see has actual fuses. The number one problem with these power supplies is that they'll actually blow a fuse and then you'll need to actually replace the fuse. Other power supplies will have actual LED lights next to each channel, and what will happen is if there's actually a bad cable wire or if the wires are crisscross, that light for that individual port will actually be out. So there's not really a better or worse. It just is a matter of which one you get from that specific manufacturer. So let's go ahead and actually connect a cable as we would if we were out in the field installing our security camera system. So to start, we're going to need our cutters. Now you can get any kind of snips or cutters. I prefer the wire strip cutters. They work very well in all applications and are ideal for this project. I really don't recommend using scissors. I know some companies and installers will actually use scissors, but I'm strongly against it. So to start, if this was the home run of our installation, we would first start by actually stripping the wire. So I'm separating the RJ59 video cable from the 18.2 power cable. Now I'm going to take my 18.2 powered cable and I'm going to score the wire oh so gently, and I'm going to actually separate the white shield from the actual cable itself, and it'll expose the black and the red cable. Now you'll find on these power boxes they'll have punch out holes. You see we already went ahead and knocked out the holes for you for demonstrating this purpose, and we also knocked out the hole for the actual power cable. The power cables, usually they're just a connection that will plug on and off. There's not much to it. Sometimes you'll have the power cable installed on the actual outer surface and you'll just plug that in. But for this instance, it's actually just connected right to the motherboard. And we would simply unconnect that and connect it back in to feed it through this power box. Okay, so we'll start by feeding the cable through the power box. Now we've already gone ahead and scored this wire and exposed the shield, but just for demonstration purposes, to show you exactly what we'll be doing, we'll go ahead and do it one more time. Now once you have your copper exposed, you'll basically go ahead, take your screwdriver, and you'll see on the very side it'll say positive and negative, and that's telling you that this one is negative and this one's positive. So we'll go ahead and loosen the screws, and we're going to go ahead and place the red into the positive. And when you're doing this, try to make sure that you get as tight a connection as possible and that you don't have any copper strands actually sticking out of the screw, as they may touch other connections later on. And we'll secure that. Then we'll go ahead and take our negative and we'll replicate what we just did with the positive. Now we actually have a connection for one camera. We have our positive connected and our negative connected. Now we would duplicate this for all the different connections for each camera. Once this process is done, we can then take our case cover, which basically just hooks right on, and that closes up. Now sometimes you'll find a lock on the actual case cover. Most of the time though, we're going to find actual screws that we would actually screw right down in the case cover. And once you do that, of course, you can go ahead and seal up your power supply box. Now prior to doing this last step, obviously we want to mount this power supply box on either a wall, flush mount, or just sitting on the floorboard wherever we're going to actually be mounting our security camera. So this concludes the actual video for the setting up and configuring the power supply box for the security camera system. If you have any additional questions, please feel free to give us a call. You can also visit our website, www.securitycameratraining.com.